Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? Happy hump day. I hope everybody's doing good. Thank y'all all for being here. I really appreciate y'all so much. I hope everybody's had a good day today. Okay, I'm going to say hello to everybody in chat real quick and we'll get started. Before I do, I want to put this up because today is National Autism Awareness Day. It is for the whole month, but today is the official day. So I'm going to leave that up while I say hello to Meemaw Sandy, Detroit Rock City, Cinderella. Hi, Kathy, Heather. Hey, Landon, how you doing? Hey, Rhonda. Hi, Lainey. Gemini 2, Roxy R, Weston. Hey, Tony and Callie, how are you? Hey, Mary and Teresa. There's Brown Eyed Girls. Hey, Brenda. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a second. Let's see, West End, Roxy R. Hi, Deanna. How are you? We got it, Miss Janice, Mari. How are you? Hope everybody's doing good. Hello, Blue Eyes Jules. Hello, hello. Hi, Charlene. How are you? Hey, Tina girl. I tell you what, this case, it's crazy, isn't it? Hey, TJ. R. Taylor, how you doing? D. Marie, hello. Hi, Sandra. Hugs to you. Hey, Bo. Good to have you. Glad you made it. Yankee Kyle. Good afternoon to you, too. Hey, Brenda and Susan Kemp. Let's see who else we got in the house. I guess we got all caught up there. Well, good deal. Well, don't forget, this is Autism Awareness Month. Today is the day for it. So we wanted to make sure to show our support for that. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate everybody. All this same, yada, yada, thumbs up, subscribe. Join the membership if you would like to. We would love to have y'all on board. Okay, now that we got all that over with, let's get into it, guys. So last night, we know while we were talking, Yada came up on Clue's panel. Mr. Chris went up on panel as well. I will not be playing that. Too many people have been threatened to being struck for it. It's ridiculous. They can play anything they want to, but they will go out of their way to strike anyone over here. Long story short, Yada had a big tale to tell, and it was 100% completely the opposite than what she told us on Bullhorn Betty's channel. Mr. Chris didn't like the things she was saying, and he came on panel, basically told her to shut her mouth, do not speak about him, about his wife, his son, or Seth. I don't know where he gets off taking up for Seth when he's actually the ones that's part of destroying Seth. But hey, that's what happened. And of course, you know, they ate it all up. Hey, everyone coming in. Thank y'all for being here. Holly S. Chit Chat. Toad Kissing Queen. How you doing? Anybody else that snuck in on me, hello and welcome. So that's that. Now, I will tell you this. Chris was just now on Queen's panel. He did say that he talked to her off of YouTube. They had a conversation. She misspoke when she mentioned that her grandmother or her aunt, who is Katie's grandmother, the house was raided, doors were busted in. That is not what happened. But she made a whole production out of it, making it sound way worse than it was. And it actually was not even true. My whole issue with what happened last night, I don't care if Chris wants to come up there and talk about her, talk to her and be mean to her. Something struck a nerve with him because he was angry. Mad angry. That stood out clear as day. Because she said, hello, Chris, how are you? And he said, I am not good. So it started out rough. But the thing that stood out to me the most out of that whole thing, the whole interview with Yada, she's talking about how people were picketing outside of her aunt's house. No one has done that in Sebastian's case. No one. The Proudfoots have not even had that happen at all. I don't know why her grandmother's house would be something to picket about Sebastian being missing. On the other hand, Sebastian was in Katie's grandmother's home with her. They stayed the night. Seth told us he had to make a welfare check on his son when he called and found out he was home at his grandmother's house, his great-grandmother's house, with his grandmother, Katie's mother. And we all know that she is a registered RSO on probation for 99 years, cannot be around children. And yet, as most of the families around, there is a death in the family. It's almost as if it's a family reunion. Everybody comes together. There's pictures with Katie's mother in the picture and all these young kids. Sebastian stayed in the home, stayed the night in that home. So maybe people were upset if there was any picketing and it had to do with that. But I'm sure it had nothing to do with Sebastian's case. And what stuck out to me the worst and the most disgusting of all of it is the fact that they didn't even question Sebastian being in the home with her. Katie left Sebastian in the home with her mother and her grandmother. That's wrong. By a state law, it's wrong. And of course, she defended her aunt, who was Katie's grandmother, that she would not let anything happen to Sebastian. She's not going to have eyes on him 24/7. It's disgusting. It should have been brought up, but they all agreed with her. They all assumed and understood that the great-grandmother would take care of Sebastian and look out for him and not let anything happen. Well, great-grandmother wasn't there all the time, was she? To help Katie out herself. but yet it seems to be okay for Sebastian. So as far as I'm concerned, that is wrong on so many levels. But not one person on that panel or in that chat question that. That's how sick of a game that they're playing. That they saw nothing at all wrong with the fact that Sebastian was in a home left there by his mother while she went to eat with her father. She could have took Sebastian with her, but she left him there in the home with a person who has done bad things to her and other children. And it's just okay to them. I was so angry when I was listening to it last night. I could not believe what I was hearing. And not one person stood up for Sebastian and said, that is not okay. Because what had happened to him in California had already happened at that point. It's not okay. So then we move to today. Today's a court hearing. I have yet to get any messages sent back to me on what exactly did happen in court. But there was a lot popping off. Let me share with you one thing that has been going on. And let me put up a banner real quick because I'm going to use this little clip, although it is just a small clip. I'm going to use it under fair use. I will put the link in the chat. But here we go, folks. Listen close.
00529. OCR please. 202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, warrant criminal? Yes, I got Tennessee 116.
Whoa. What was that? What's 1008, y'all? Yeah, this is from the Sumner County Dispatch 7 minutes ago. Was this 7 minutes ago? 3 sides? What? Hold on. Let me play it again.
00529. OCR please. 202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, warrant criminal? Yes, I got Tennessee 116 400.
What the fuck? Wait, 3 sides. When did you? That is their house. Warrant criminal. Uh-oh. What's going on? Does it say anything else? Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm going to text CP and see if anything's going on. All right, hold on. Let me play this again.
29. OCR please. 202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, warrant criminal? Yes, I got Tennessee 116 400 OCR please. 202, guys. Can you show me out at 1008 Stafford Court, warrant criminal? Yes, I got Tennessee.
I don't know what's going on, guys. So it was only 7. Okay, let me pull up this Sumner County scanner. Hold on. Hold the phone. Let me pull up Broadcastify, okay? Hold on.
Okay, there you go. Criminal warrant was issued for 1008 Stafford Drive. Here, a criminal warrant is a legal document issued by a judge or magistrate authorizing law enforcement to take specific actions, such as making an arrest, searching a location, or seizing property based on probable cause. Criminal warrants, the purpose is to ensure that law enforcement actions are based on legal grounds and protect individual rights against unreasonable searches and other things. Then, here is this. This is a copy of the warrant. The name is scratched out. And this is what we have. It is for April the 16th. It is, the plaintiff is Bullhorn Betty. So it all has to do with their court proceedings. So yes, she wants evidence. There are things. It's the subpoena that was served. Okay. Let me go back here and I'm going to highlight this comment. And the way that that was put out on dispatch this morning was as if it was a criminal warrant. And that's what got everybody excited. Gina H says, I was in the courtroom. It was only 10 minutes. Chris walked out laughing. Then I got outside. Terry Lynn was in his face. Got in my car, and him and Terry Lynn were alone having it out. So him and his mother were arguing outside of court, Holly? Really? Wow. Oh, Betty. Betty has just been live. It is going to the Court of Appeal. Betty is happy. She said Chris and his mom were arguing outside court. She had to wait inside until they had gone. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, there we go. Let's see. Okay. So, yep, that's a subpoena. Okay, I just got verification. There's someone that called Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and it was just a subpoena for Chris, not a criminal warrant. So that's good to know. So I wonder what him and his mommy were upset about. I wonder what Terry Lynn was upset about. More misinformation. Yes. I tell you, people, it is, let me see. It is bizarre. I tell you guys, it's insane. It's insane. You know, when you start playing with fire, someone's going to get burned. And I think these people are starting to get a little too close to the fire. And it's all going to come back on them. It will. We just have to be patient. But I don't want, just like we got the at night thing yesterday about the 3 a.m. car being impounded. Okay. They don't want us to put all this out as misinformation or anything because we don't have it confirmed. So just like the criminal warrant that was put out on dispatch. Exactly, Cat B. They are not the same. A subpoena is something saying you have to be at court that day. A warrant, as we just saw, and let's read this again, a criminal warrant right here is a legal document issued by a judge or magistrate authorizing law enforcement to take specific actions such as making an arrest, searching a location, or seizing property based on probable cause. So, if he was served a subpoena to appear in court, him or Katie or both, and then if Betty wanted something of evidentiary value brought into court, that could be that criminal warrant, possibly. Yes, Holly, he is going on panels. It had to be served, I believe, outside of court. I don't think they can just hand it to you in court. I'm not sure on that, but I don't know that it was served today. Yeah. There was the recording. Yeah, there was a recording that said a criminal warrant for, and their address. It listed their address. And everybody got excited. Which is okay because, you know, we're going to get that call one day. We're going to get that dispatch come out one day. It's not going to take much longer. These people are going to eventually break themselves. And they're doing it to themselves. And the circus that has been created is being created by them. Last night, on that panel, as they're talking about Seth having a wellness check for Sebastian at his grandmother's house or great-grandmother's house with his grandmother there, sitting beside him on the couch watching TV, Sebastian told him. And they were talking about if Seth did that, then that was just for spite. Why would he do that for spite? Wouldn't he do it for the protection of his child because there is a registered as offender sitting beside his son? The same registered offender that did things to Sebastian's very own mother. Guys, it's ridiculous. They thought nothing of it. It was Seth causing a circus, creating the circus out of this whole case. Of course, they called him Sean, and Yada started calling him Sean. But it's all Seth's fault. And while ago, when I went over and listened, because I heard that Chris was on Queen Bee's panel, it was all, this is such a setup by Seth. Seth has done this. Seth has started this whole thing. He has made Betty do these things. Betty's a grown woman. She can make her own decisions. Seth doesn't have to make her do anything. But it's all Seth's fault. And of course, we know narcissistic type of people, It's never their fault. Never. Yeah, can't share them brain cells, can we? I'm telling you, they are flipping over there. They're going crazy. Yesterday there was talk about Jay flipping sides. She took up at one point and said we have to be fair. Seth never did that. It was something they were talking about. I appreciated her doing that. But she egged on the whole process of what happened and who got you to say this. And, they were leading Yada into the fact that this was all Betty. No, Yada's the one that said herself on Betty's channel that her family usually stick together and take up for one another. But Sebastian had been missing for a month, and his great-grandmother, Katie's grandmother, knew the whole time. But she didn't tell the rest of the family. And that was very strange and suspicious to her because it was unlike her family. Now she has a whole different tune she's singing. She tried to get on a hold of several people over here. None of them replied to her. She got Clue, and Clue replied. I'm telling you, Gina, I was blown away. Sebastian has not been looked after the way a young kid should be looked after when there is a registered offender anywhere close by. But yet they saw nothing wrong with it. It was the worst I've ever seen or ever heard from anyone. Because it's his grandmother. He was getting to know his grandmother. Well, she made the choice to put herself there and not become his grandmother and get to do grandmother type things. That was her choice. Yes, Brown Eyed Girl, she did. She sent Brittany J an email 2 weeks ago, and Brittany did not reply. There's a game that's being played. They have completely made Sebastian's case into a circus full of weird exhibits. Strange things continued to happen. And yet, we're the blame. Seth is the one started in all of it. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard when there's a child that is missing. A child that he has autism. He needs medication. He needs a routine. He likes things a certain way. Yet they don't care. They have no concerns about Sebastian being missing. The big concern last night was that her family was being attacked. Her Aunt Suzanne would never allow that to happen to Sebastian. But I keep going back to the whole part of it all is she allowed it to happen to Katie. She didn't stop that. So how the hell was she going to stop it for Sebastian? And none of them saw a problem with that. Not one. It's not a subject I like to talk about at all, guys. But this is a subject that Sebastian has lived with. And people around him don't seem to be bothered by it. His father makes a welfare check when he finds out who he's with, because his mother left him in that home while she went to have dinner with her father. So he makes a welfare check. He does what a good parent should do. Katie leaving her son with the same person that was not good to her makes no sense whatsoever. Yes, they stayed overnight there. Oh, but that's not a problem, because there was another cousin and her husband that stayed the night there. So, a registered SO was in that home with Sebastian. This person got out of jail and is on probation for 99 years. That's how bad she was. Her very own daughter did the same. It's not a good situation for Sebastian to be put in. I don't care who it is. Now, if that's a decision Katie wants to make on her own to be around that, that is totally Katie's decision to make. But when it comes to her child, no. The law says no. And yet, everyone on panel last night never once questioned any of it. That's the kind of people we are talking about. Yeah. Mohawk. It's just, it was so aggravating, and I don't agree with everything they do or everything that they say or everything that they talk about, but that is their opinions. But when it comes to the law says no. But they were not concerned about anything law related. Aunt Suzanne's a good person, so she was going to make sure that nothing happened to Sebastian. She wouldn't allow that. Did she not love Katie when Katie was little? It's the same thing. It's the same situations. It's not right. And it is a very sensitive subject. And it's one I don't like talking about because it's just sad. It's horrible. But I was never so disappointed in people in all my life. I don't even care for them as people or creators. But I don't hate on them. But I was very disappointed last night when not one of them, not one person stood up for Sebastian. And yet they put everything on us, that we're the one creating this shitstorm. No, we're here for Sebastian. It's all about Sebastian. And I'm not going to sit there and just listen to them be okay with that. while Katie's cousin is on panel making excuses why it was okay for Sebastian to be in that same home, left watching TV with a registered SO. It's not okay. In no way, no shape, no form, no way, none. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Listening to the anger in Chris's voice last night, he came on panel. He was mad to the point he sounded as if he couldn't catch his breath at times. He was so mad. And I wonder if that's the kind of anger Sebastian had to live with. Was it worse than that? Because I guarantee if he could have been right in front of her, he probably would have poked her eyeballs. He probably would have poked her in the eyeballs for sure. I don't get it. Oh, Blue Eyes, I'm going to play something here in just a minute about that too. But I don't get how they are all as if Chris's anger is just everyday life. But you have to stop and wonder, is that the anger that Sebastian had to deal with? Yesterday, I was telling you about a post that his sister, Chris's sister, Melissa, made. It was a reply to a post that was put out about Sebastian. She had all the statistics listed. And I wonder, did they already have all those statistics? Did they already look those up to see what they could use for the reason he wouldn't be in his bed? I'm to the point to where anything would make sense right now. But she had several types of statistics when it came to missing children. I can't help but wonder, did they already have those statistics? Had they already looked into that? Was Chris's anger something that Sebastian's had to live with? Has he had to endure that kind of anger that we heard last night to the point where Chris could barely breathe? He was so angry. This day forward, you will not talk about any of us. And he listed him, his wife, Sebastian, and even Seth. I'm sure Seth could talk for himself. But Mr. Chris has to control everything. And if Sebastian has had to endure worse than that anger, that precious baby, wherever he is, I'm glad he's not in that home anymore. Because that kind of anger is not what a child should have to endure. I could never imagine being so angry at a person on a YouTube channel speaking about her side of the family. She had even said they hadn't seen Katie since the uncle's, Katie's grandfather's funeral. That was years and years ago. And Chris was so very mad. But then again, folks, we have to stop and think. What is it she said that struck a nerve? What was it that struck a nerve with Chris to go on panel and be so mad and upset, even more so than when his truck pinged in the neighborhood? And they didn't realize him talking about LE. They didn't realize it was my truck. He was very mad about that. Yes, Mohawk Mom. And I have to correct myself a while ago. I did say, I think that had already happened to Sebastian, but it had not. It happened after that funeral, and they were with his grandmother. So, guys, when we hear a clip such as Jay putting out, oh my gosh, what is happening here? You could hear her panic in her voice because she thought Chris Proudfoot had been picked up for something criminal. She started to panic. If I would have heard it, I would have started clapping. Because that day, I believe, is coming for their part in what has happened to Sebastian. It's so obvious. Sebastian never left his home. Not on his own. Therefore, he had to be carried out and taken away. It's a big cover-up at this point. A big story, a scripted story is being told. They edit the script before every interview they put out. That's what it seems like, because we continue to hear different things at different times. And I know that day will come when those involved will have that criminal warrant served on them. And I just hope the other side can hold themselves together and not panic and fall apart, because it will be well deserved. Looky here. Thank you so much, June. You are so sweet. Thank you for gifting a membership. Hello, Cher. How are you doing? Thank you for that. If you got that membership, please make sure to tell June thank you very much. That is so sweet of her. And welcome to the Lollipops. Let's play a little song for our new member. Welcome to the South.
Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff down. We got enough to go around. So can I get a break and get down? Welcome to the South.
Welcome. Okay, guys, I am going to play a little something for you here in just a second. We're going to kind of switch gears. Thank you for that membership that you gifted, June. We really appreciate it. But I'm going to show you something, and I haven't loaded it on yet. Let me see if I can get that done real quick. I'm going to show you something that was posted And there is a creator out there. Guys, I'm not joking when I say for the longest, I thought she was kooky as all get out. And y'all might know her. And her channel is called Love in Vegas. I take it with a grain of salt. But when we found out about, when I started catching on to the green hoodie, I mean the yellow raincoat guy, and I showed y'all, this is who that guy is, okay? There is a post she made. I was talking to Blue Eyes Jules, and I was like, this name, Richard Bishop, where have I heard this name before? Well, this Love in Vegas person had made a video just prior and named him, his son, and a few others that are involved in Sebastian's case. Now, this was just sent to me a while ago. This had just been posted, and it was posted by her. Hey, Chris, you getting nervous yet? For you should be. That is what she's posted. Now I'm going to play a clip 5D put out. I think it was 5D. Somebody had put it out. I can't remember, but I think it's 5D put it out, but it is about 4 months old, I think. She did it about 4 months ago. And she's a little off the cuff, but I'm going to present it. Let me do this, get it ready, and I'm going to play it for you, okay? Hang tight. All righty. Let's play this. And here we go. Listen to this close.
Hey everybody, Jenny Christie from Sebastian, Florida. I didn't come on today to complain about my house, which the police I'm sure are aware of, and I'm sure the people at 325 know that they're completely monitored by the police by this point. If not, they're just stupid. Well, they're friends of Joel Wolf, so they gotta be stupid. But anyway, what I'm calling about is I want this message to go right to Dave Davison. David, there's a problem. You know what the problem is? We're not on the same page here, because being on the same page means thinking the same. And I'm thinking about Chris Proudfoot and what a loose end you're letting get away with murder. Like, don't you want that circus to begin? Don't you want to see Chris Proudfoot crumble on Front Street? I think it would be hysterical. You two would have a ball with it. David, I'm asking you to make the next move and bury Chris Proudfoot. 27.27 means shit to the police. Westmoreland is a big county. Well, big enough to not know where. Like, we need to nail Chris. And the David that I know would have been on that already. Something's wrong here, David. Got some other influences. You're not acting yourself. I guarantee you're not acting yourself because, yes, the FBI has dug into all this. And, yes, they know everything. They might not know where you are right now, but they know every move you've made against me and every move, period. Anyway, David, it don't matter. I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. And I will get what's mine. What you called a win is not a win when it all belongs to me. Anyway, the FBI has proven that. But that's not a finished story. A finished story would be Chris Proudfoot and Katie. Now, you got to be thinking about Katie the same way I do. After all, Katie stopped at BJ's. To me, BJ stand for blowjob.
Warning, trigger warning, language, and what she's about to say is not so comfortable to hear. So please be warned.
I had two theories. I had thought that Katie had met you after Texas Roadhouse, and now I know differently. I know Chris killed his son, and I know Katie let him out the door in black. Chris was not in Memphis that night. He was not in Memphis. He came and he killed his son for $1 million for Charles to Naples, and the police are going nuts looking for evidence. Listen, they know the FBI is not stupid. Give a little kudos where it's deserved, and put him in his place, and let Florida get him. Or whatever. Do put a little kudos where it's needed. And get that son of a bitch. David, I know, would never let this go. You would watch the circus and laugh your ass off before you got arrested. So I don't know what's going on here, but Chris Proudfoot's on my brain. He's got to be on your Capricorn brain. David, Chris Proudfoot. I saw the Pennsylvania lottery last time I asked you where he was. The next day we had some lottery communication. We know he's in Westmoreland. David, I need more. And you have to give a little respect, because the serial killer I know would give respect where it's deserved. And Chris Proudfoot, got to get him, David. With all that being said, this is just for Dave Davison. Nobody else. It's irrelevant to anybody else watching me banter and ask David to get Chris Proudfoot. David, do you hear me? Did you hear what I said, David? Did you hear what I said? Get Chris Proudfoot. Do the right thing. And it would be so cool watching him crumble. We'd be laughing our asses off together, I know. Get Chris. Bye now.
So, well. How do y'all like that one? I want to pull up, let me see if I can get back up here to this real quick. There was a post that was made right when I started that. Tap dancer Lizzie says, Lolly, I was spending my time on hope that Sebastian was stowed away somewhere. Last night's explosion of CP changed that. I am now afraid for him. You know, last night's explosion for me had me wondering if it being mentioned about Katie's family was a little too close for Chris's comfort. I don't know. And that's the bad part. We have no clue. And right now, I'm scared for Sebastian wherever he is. Because that child cannot have any freedom whatsoever and be able to go places. Because so many people know. So many people know. Okay, the dirty scoop. I don't know who the David person is. She mentions him being a serial killer. I don't know. But she is very, very adamant, and she has names that are tied together that were at Texas Roadhouse that night. I don't know. He exploded Selena on Clues. So I'm just showing y'all things that I'm finding, and it's crazy. It's also crazy. Sebastian deserves so much better than what he's getting right now. Yeah, we need the Elvis Memphis Mafia, don't we? Okay, now we're going to change directions again. Right? Exactly, D. Marie. Yeah, Nana, the scanner did say there was a criminal warrant for the Stafford House address. Yes, Mohawk. I kind of am wondering, because the way Chris reacted really makes me wonder if that got a little too close. All I need for Jesus said I would settle for the cornbread mafia at this point. Y'all, this is too much. But I'm going to let us play something and listen to this because this is switching gears a little bit. But Katie is going to talk about Katie filing a fabricated report on Seth. I think y'all will find this interesting if you haven't already heard it. And Clue will be reading it. And yet they still think Seth is the bad person. Make it make sense, folks. Katie filed a fabricated DVRO on Seth and defends Chris, who beat and abused her kid. This is 5D that put this out. Thank you to him. Make sure to sub up to his channel for sure.
So this is public knowledge, okay? I'm not going to feel bad for any of it, but we were having a discussion about it earlier. I won't say why. Something is amiss.
Just spit it out. They already know anyway.
So this thing was posted on the Facebook, okay? The Facebook group. I forget which one, I can tell y'all. But anyway, this was posted on the Facebook group and it has to do with the divorce between Seth and Katie, okay? She accuses him of a whole bunch of stuff, right? And on one level of my mind, I'm like, this really does have nothing to do with finding Sebastian. You know what I mean? So I don't know why it is even coming out there. You know what I mean? But I will say this, okay? It has been said that Chris is controlling. He don't let her talk. He don't let her do this and that. And it's like, that's funny because you portray Chris in the same light that you are accusing Seth of being. Does that make sense to anyone? I said that really messed up. You do that.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, you're good.
Because I'm not gonna go over this whole thing, but this part right here. And it's been said before, right, that Katie cannot talk to Chris or Seth. God knows how you don't have both guys 4 letters in their name, but Katie can't talk to Chris unless Katie can't talk to Seth unless it goes through Chris, right? I've heard that. Yeah. And
Seth only seems to be through Chris too. He doesn't talk directly to Katie.
Right. Almost like she has to get permission from him or something like that. I just want to read this statement right here, okay? Because I done told y'all, first off, before I read anything, I want to hear somebody out there say, okay, Clue, you might have a point. I've been the onlyest one warning y'all about these females around here, okay? All of my phone calls and not allowing me to speak with anyone, including my family, without listening. And he has been monitoring every text and call that I make to patronize me and keep me from telling people exactly what has been going on.
Okay, everybody take note. Everything she's saying is pretty much everything Mr. Chris has done to her and to Nina. And even Mohawk Mom mentioned earlier, it's almost verbatim. The report filed against Nina. It's so obvious. This is an attack. But obviously, as you can tell, this was done while Clue was still on Seth's side before she started communicating with the Proudfoots.
Hovering over every call that I make. Now,
And just for you to understand that don't understand, this was back in 2016 and 17, by the way, okay? When they lived in California and they were married is when this statement, or getting divorced is when this statement was made. Go ahead.
right. Now, this is a letter that Katie wrote for the divorce. And I will say that Seth came back, responded, and I'm talking about she was accusing him of like abusing Sebastian. They took his weapons, et cetera, et cetera. But the funny part about it is you can kind of tell already that this is and was obviously unfounded because
Well,
we hope,
If he
we
works
think.
for the sheriff's department. He works
Right.
for the sheriff's department. He has a police commission. Think
Correct.
about it. That's a good question, Salty. It makes sense too. Was she cheating? Like to know that. Anyway, go ahead.
I've been saying that. I mean, I'm not even gonna apologize for that neither. Like, whew, you could talk it off your thumbnail. You could hit 10 women around here that would sleep with you and never tell nobody, not even the Lord himself at the gates. I'm not lying.
And don't forget, like we said in the beginning of this, we have both been looking at both sides of this fence, okay? Not just one. It may seem that way in some senses, but we still look at and talk about both sides of this fence.
No, and I will say this much, right? I am so so eager for somebody to come out and say something and figure out where this kid is, what happened to him, and who did it. Because I think it's probably going to be one of those things where it's a pretty decent lesson in you can be fooled by a lot of people in life. And a bigger lesson in my motto, I don't trust nobody. Like no one. I don't trust nobody. I'm a fool if I do that. But I do find it very weird that there was all these claims about him being controlling, hurting the kid. To be fair, like I'm not even kidding. If I were Chris Proudfoot, I would be terrified right now. Not kidding. Like I'm not even joking because this has already happened in one relationship, right? Those claims obviously were not true, or Seth would not do what he did today for a living.
Right.
What was that clue? Huh? Did I hear that correctly? Those were not words that were true, or Chris or Seth would not be able to have the job he has currently. Those words were not true. And we all know that Seth replied to this order. And in the divorce, during this allegations, the judge found it was not true and gave Seth joint custody of their son. Should any of this had been true, Seth would not have gotten joint custody and would not have the job he has today. But yet the other side wants to hold on to this document that Katie put in to a court. Domestic violence. She wanted him registered as a domestic violence offender. But it never happened, folks. It never happened. He doesn't have a job, big girl. He's got a job. Seth definitely has a job. For sure. Let me get back over here real quick. But yeah, I want y'all to hear those words coming out of her mouth because, oh My goodness. June, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that so much. That is super sweet. I love you for that. Thank you. Thank you. And let's have a happy dance. Yes, Carrie Starr says, and he didn't even have a lawyer, and yet it was still unfounded. Exactly. Exactly. It's crazy how that document that Clue was sitting there reading and going over, we see it, we've just heard parts of it with our very own eyes. It's the same document that whole side holds to so tight these days just to make Seth look bad. It's the only thing they have that they can use against Seth. Thank you for that, June. I really appreciate you. Oh, I hope somebody filmed it. I hope somebody filmed the fighting outside the court. And I don't care what people say, Seth still has a job. Big girl getting her facts from the other side of the street, probably. Because it ain't coming from this side, that's for sure. Yes, Sweet Sativa says, Seth, let me pull it up here. Seth is the only one fighting for Sebastian. In my opinion, Katie and Chris aren't doing anything but spreading lies. Yes, yes, and yes. Isn't that sad? Yes, they're supposedly, Gina H was in here a while ago and told us that when she walked out, Terry Lynn was all up in Chris's face and yelling at him. And she got in her car and they were having it out. And Betty could not leave the courthouse until his mother and him were gone. And they were out there arguing. Folks, you can stop and we can all stop and think about it all day long. It's been over a year that these people have held on to whatever secret they have. They have held tight to it. They have been construing, making up scripts and lies and changing things around so much and trying to stay so tight with their little tiny secret, holding it as close to them as they possibly can. That has to get to you after a while. It will eat them from the inside out. They can go on every panel and tell every lie they want to tell. But it doesn't matter. I just don't see them, all of them that are involved. Because I honestly believe there are multiple people involved to pull this off so smooth, without a trace, hiding the evidence, all the things that have happened. There has to be multiple people. And it will eat them all up. True, Retha. You're true. You're right. Retha said, Lolly, I respectfully disagree. Some people lie and never feel bad about it. And that may be it. They may not feel bad. I look at it on my side. I would never be able to carry that off for very long. It would eat me up. And I hope and I pray it's tearing them apart inside. Yeah, Carrie, I have a feeling he's going to be, if and should he ever get those silver bracelets, I have a feeling he will crack. He will crack like crazy. He will have no problem at all spilling. He will hang Katie up to dry, is my guess. You know, I think so too, Carrie. I think, yeah, Retha, I don't see how anybody could carry it that long. But you're right. They may have no problem with it. Wow, Nanny, that's crazy. I think Katie, in her upbringing, she learned how to detach herself from a situation. I think she's having a hard time detaching herself from her own child. But it has been enough to sustain her. She's been able to detach enough that she hasn't cracked. And that's just my opinion. And guys, I honestly don't believe that Katie or Chris actually did anything harmful to Sebastian. I think there was a plan in place, and I think they gave him something to knock him out, to get him out of the house. I think things went awry after he was out of the house. That's crazy. You know, Chris is basically, in my opinion, been babied his whole entire life. He could do no wrong, according to his mother. Here he is as an adult man, and his mommy is still taking care of everything. Katie had a bad upbringing. She went to her grandparents at some point. But by that time, I would imagine she would have had a switch to turn off already developed within her. So we see today a mother who just goes on with life, goes on vacations, knowing her son's not home. But it's easy to do because they actually know what happened. They know where he's at. And we very much see his mommy taking care of Mr. Chris, being there for everything. Yes, Retha, disassociation completely. That's what I feel. You know, Carrie, I don't know, but she has brought up names that I can connect them to Texas Roadhouse. So I don't know. I don't know what she knows or doesn't know. I just wanted to play it for you to get your take on it, just to hear it. I don't know. But the worst part of all, there's a whole list of creators that are over on that other side that not one of them are standing up for Sebastian. Not one of them is calling out all the bad in Sebastian's life. Yeah, Carrie, I've looked at several of them too. But, you know, if you listen to that last night, they all just sat there while the conversation of Sebastian being in the home with his grandmother. And not one person stood up and said, it's the law. She should never be around children. Never. It doesn't say she shouldn't be around children except for her grandson. It says she should not be around children ever for the next 99 years, her whole entire life. Yes, Carrie, the police have said there is no evidence Sebastian walked out of the home to his father who loves and cares for his son. Yes, they've said there is no evidence that Sebastian ever left that home. And for me, that says he didn't leave. Someone carried him out. Very much so. He didn't make a choice to leave. He was carried out. He was either put into the car in the garage and removed the next morning, which I don't see possible because it was daylight and people would have seen. And yet we have a 3 a.m. video of activity coming from their backyard to a waiting car. It's as obvious as it can be. But Sebastian's still missing. Sebastian is missing. We still have no clues of where he is. No one is talking. They want to blame this RICO case on everybody, all of us, Katie's cousin, yada, blaming all of the green team, the green people, she says. It's all our fault. But folks, we're the ones here talking about him. We're the ones taking up for him. We're the ones fighting for what's right for this young man. It's not okay. The life that Sebastian has had to endure. It's not okay that there are so many CPS cases against him in just a tiny bit over 1 year. None of it is okay. And yet he's still gone. Timing was very convenient. They wanted him put in a home. Mr. Chris's court case, his custody case, was getting very close. Sebastian had to go because he could possibly have testified to the anger and the abuse in the home. It's not okay, folks. And to ever see somebody sit on a panel, several of them, and never question that he's sitting beside a registered SO. Never question it. That's not okay. It says very clearly they're not here for Sebastian. They're here to be right. And they're going to prove it one way or the other, and they don't care who they have to use as targets. But Sebastian is our target. Our number one thing is Sebastian. He's our target, and we're going to find our target. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep pushing. I know Justin will be going live here any minute if he hasn't already started, but he's going to talk about the court case. I think he'll probably have more information than I had. So we want to make sure everybody go over there and listen to him, get some more information. But today is that day to remember. We're here for Sebastian. April is Autism Awareness Month, but today is the day of autism awareness. There are several kids out there that have autism. Several of those kids are misunderstood. Several of those kids suffer and endure not so good things because people don't understand them. Today is a day that we say, Sebastian, we're here for you. Sebastian, we understand you. Today's a day where we can say, Sebastian, Wayne Drake Rogers, we will never stop looking for you. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to let y'all get out of here. I don't know. I guess I hit it twice. I'm going to let y'all get out of here. Get ready for Justin's live. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate every one of you. Y'all are so sweet and so kind. And I know we bounced around a lot today, but so much has been put out there. It's just craziness. But we're going to keep going. We'll endure the crazy if we have to, because we're doing it for Sebastian. And we'll fight through the crazy to get to the truth. So guys, I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow I may have to go early. There's a ball game. I think it's at 7, but if it starts at 6, I'll have to go a little earlier. But we'll do it again. TJ, stop it. They are losing. They are struggling. But my Astros are never counted out because they are a second half team. They'll come barreling back. I promise y'all, my Astros are going to be all right. I love me some Astros. Okay, guys. Mwah. Love and hugs to you all. And we will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all be good. Hang in there. And don't let the craziness drive you crazy.
Thank you.